Good morning. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Benyar BY-5169. I paid £38 for this watch and I bought the watch from Amazon. So firstly, let's look at the box that the BY-5169 comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items that come with the watch. So the watch comes in a matte black cardboard box, which is protected by this matte black cardboard outer sleeve. The sleeve has a cutout section to reveal the Benyar brand logo and emblem. So this is the watch box itself. As you can see, it's matte black cardboard with the textured finish, which is very aesthetically pleasing. On the lid it has the Benyar brand logo and emblem in silver. One thing I like about it is the flap is secured by two magnets which attract each other, and this is a feature that works very well to secure the lid of the flap, and I think that it's a feature that other watch brands should use as opposed to Velcro or metal poppers. The watch is protected by a piece of foam which one removes, and inside you can see the interior of the watch box is lined with a piece of foam in the cutout shape of the watch. So although basic, it does do the job in protecting the watch in shipping from any damage, and I think it's perfectly acceptable to use a cardboard watch box, bearing in mind that this watch only costs £38. So with regards to other items that one gets with a watch, one gets a blue microfiber polishing cloth which is branded with the Benyar brand logo and emblem. I always think it's nice to get a microfiber polishing cloth included with a watch at any price point, so credit to Benyar for that. One also gets this plastic tag with the Benyar brand logo and emblem in silver on both sides, and one also gets this Benyar guarantee card. Now I'm pleased to report that the Benyar BY-5169 is covered by a 1-year international guarantee, which is very reassuring. Looking at this guarantee card, you will notice the similarity between it and the ones used by Bershka and Pagani Design respectively, and that's because Benyar, Pagani Design and Bershka are all made by the same factory in China. Lastly, one also gets this user's manual, which also details the international guarantee policy, the terms and conditions of the 12-month guarantee. So basic owner's instruction manual booklet, but it does detail how to operate the Mecha Quartz movement used in this piece, which is the Sunon PE093 Mecha Quartz movement. So very useful read if you're unfamiliar with Mecha Quartz chronograph movements. With regards to the watch itself, this is clearly an homage to the Rolex Daytona, and it has a silver sunburst style, so it's clearly meant to be an homage to the white gold version of the Daytona. I think Benyar deserve full credit for this because it really is a very good homage to the Rolex Daytona at only £38. It's a 40mm case. It has a lug-to-lug measurement of 48mm. Now I consider 48mm to be the sweet spot. It is the perfect lug-to-lug measurement for all wrist sizes, because 48mm really does suit a collector with a smaller wrist of 6 to 7 inches and also collectors with a larger wrist of 7 to 8 inches like myself respectively. So very good choice of dimensions which are close to the proportions of the Rolex Daytona, which it is an homage to. It has a lug measurement of 20mm and a thickness of 12mm thick. So that's an advantage of using a Mecha Quartz movement rather than a mechanical, automatic or manual wind chronograph movement. Mecha Quartz chronographs are a lot more slimmer in profile, so therefore the watch can be made slimmer, and it has a very flat stainless steel case back as a result. So 12mm thick means it will easily fit underneath the shirt cuff, and if you're going to wear this as a daily wear piece, wearing business shirts for example, you're going to have no difficulty whatsoever fitting a 12mm piece under a shirt cuff. With regards to the rest of the specification, it's 30 meters water resistant. It has a push-pull coin edge finish solid stainless steel crown, which has a silver mirror polished finish to the chromed cap. It's push-pull rather than screw down, as one would expect at this price point. The pushers are stainless steel and they are screw-down pushers. The case back is solid stainless steel. It's beautifully laser engraved with the Benyar emblem and brand logo. Now it's a pressed-on case back rather than screw-down case back, which is a clear cost-cutting measure. And with regards to the hermetic seals, the push-pull crown does provide an effective hermetic seal to 30 meters, but I want you to be mindful of the fact that the Pagani Design and the Bershka versions of this watch have a screw-down crown which is superior. The screw-down crown on those versions provides 100 meters of hermetic seal, and also the screw-down case backs on those versions, the Pagani Design and Bershka versions, they provide a more effective hermetic seal to 100 meters. So these are two clear cost-cutting measures which actually reduce the specification. Pressed on case back is 30 meters, push-pull crown is 30 meters. Personally, I think the Pagani design and Bershka versions are a better buy because of that, because they have screw-down crowns and screw-down case backs with 100 meters of hermetic seal. With regards to the rest of the specification, it uses the same case, the same sapphire crystal and same ceramic bezel for the watch. So I think that's very good. It's only £38 to get a sapphire crystal and ceramic bezel. They're both very scratch resistant, very hard materials. So credit to Benyar for not cutting any corners with regards to the build's quality and the specification in those areas. The silver sunburst dial is very aesthetically pleasing. The applied indices are very well executed, and also I like the contrast between the sunburst finish of the silver dial and also the black subdials. The date complication is situated between the 4 and 5 o'clock indexes, and that works very well. It's clearly legible, has a white dates wheel with black numerals, so easy to read in all light conditions. The negative of the sapphire crystal is that it doesn't have AR coating. There's no anti-reflective coating on the underside. Now, unfortunately, Benyar have chosen to use a mirror polished rehort on the interior of the case, and that means it's highly reflective. If you look at the mirror polishing to the rehort, that means it bounces the light around, which comes through the sapphire crystal. And bearing in mind it's a silver sunburst style with silver applied indices and silver baton hands, it's a highly reflective piece. It's very glossy and shiny, and as you can see, the sapphire crystal is reflecting the light due to the lack of AR coating. So really I think they should have used a brushed satin finish to the rehort rather than using a mirror polish finish, because that would reduce some of the high reflective properties of the rehort. But however, it's very aesthetically pleasing due to the symmetry of the three subdials and the positioning of the date complication between 4 and 5 o'clock. With regards to the rest of the specification, it uses an oyster style bracelet which is solid stainless steel links. The centre links are mirror polished and the outer links are brushed satin finish with mirror polished flanks. I would describe the oyster style bracelet as being acceptable, bearing in mind that the watch is £38. Hollow folded end links. Now normally I would be highly critical of the use of folded end links rather than solid end links, but as this is a low tier price point piece at £38, I'm not going to be heavily critical. One is clearly going to expect some cost cutting measures, and that's one of them. The other main cost cutting measure is the use of a 2-button push folding clasp. As you can see, it has Benyar laser engraved to a very high standard on the brushed satin finish exterior. One presses the 2-button push and then that opens the folded pressed metal clasp. Now normally I'm highly critical of pressed metal clasp. This is stainless steel which is brushed into a satin finish. It's not plated mild steel, but it's a disappointment. I really think that it's worth paying extra for the Pagani design or the Bershka version, because they have a glide lock copy clasp which has a solid stainless steel milled interior, so it's a higher grade. So that's a clear cost cutting measure, the use of a pressed metal clasp and also the hollow folded end links. And really I would describe the bracelet as okay. It's acceptable, it does do the job, the 2-button push clasp does work to a satisfactory standard. It does feel very lightweight, it does feel very rattly, and there is a lot of articulation where the push pins go through the bracelet. Now another cost cutting measure is the use of push pins in the links rather than screw pins. The Pagani design and Bershka versions use screw pins, which is of course better quality. So really I would describe the bracelet as acceptable at the price point. It's okay, but there is room for improvement. I think the watch itself, with regards to the head of the piece, is done to a very good standard. The mirror polishing on the flanks of the case is done to a flawless finish, as is on the tops of the lugs and the case. The underside of the case is also polished to a flawless mirror finish, which complements the mirror polishing to the case back. Very high standard of finishing. The build's quality in terms of the fit of the ceramic bezel, the sapphire crystal, the push-pull crown and the screw-down pushers are all done very well. The pushers do work very well. I'm pleased to report that the chronograph does work correctly, and the push-pull crown is silky smooth to operate when setting the time and also the dates complication. So yes, the Sunon PE093 megaquartz movement does work. It's not as good as the Seiko VK63 used in the Pagani design version of this watch, so that's something to consider. Now, with regards to the Mecha Quartz movement used in this watch, the Sunon PE093 is a Chinese-made Mecha Quartz movement which has a stated accuracy of plus or minus 30 seconds per month. It has a 2-year battery life, so I'll contrast that to the Seiko VK63. The Seiko VK63, which is used in the Pagani design version and the Bershka version respectively, has a better accuracy. It has an accuracy of plus or minus 20 seconds per month, and it also has a more impressive specification for the battery life. It has a battery life of 3 years. So if you buy the Pagani design or the Bershka version of this watch, you're gaining an extra 1 year of battery life, and you're also gaining accuracy because it's plus or minus 20 seconds per month rather than plus or minus 30 seconds per month, which is the case with this Sunon PE093 Mecha Quartz movement piece. So overall, that's something to consider. The reality is that yes, the Pagani design and Bershka versions are more expensive, but they do have a higher specification and a better quality of Mecha Quartz movement. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how the watch fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now, I haven't sized the bracelet. I simply took the watch out of the watch box and I've put it straight on my wrist, as you can see, and I'm pleased to report that it does fit my 8-inch wrist with no difficulties whatsoever. On the wrist, it's an incredibly comfortable piece due to the lack of heft. At only 135 grams on the Oyster style bracelet, it's a lightweight piece. Very comfortable and very aesthetically pleasing. I really like the case shape of that 40mm case with a 48mm lug-to-lug measurement. As you can see, it wraps around the wrist very well, so I'm confident that this piece would fit collectors with a 6 to 7 inch wrist, and it would also fit collectors with a 7 to 8 inch wrist respectively. The silver sunburst style is very aesthetically pleasing, the way it catches the light, and also the glossy finish to the ceramic bezel and the sapphire crystal. So very shiny piece and very pleasant to look at on the wrist. Incredibly lightweight and comfortable, and I have to be honest and say that the bracelet is very comfortable. I can easily fit my index finger underneath the bracelet, so there will be no problem if you have up to an 8.5 inch wrist in wearing this watch. I think it could be further improved if one puts a leather, rubber or NATO strap on the head of the piece. I think that the bracelet is the main negative that lets this watch down, and really if one wore this on a leather strap, it would be a far more aesthetically pleasing piece to wear on the wrist. I also think a leather or rubber strap would enhance the comfort. The Oyster style bracelet is reasonably comfortable, but really the watch would be better looking on a black rubber or black leather strap or even a NATO strap. So I'll give you a Lume test and we'll see what the maximum performance of the Lume of the watch is. Now, bearing in mind that the watch only costs £38, to be honest with you, I don't have high expectations of the quality of the Lume, but I'll charge it up with my 100 LED UV torch to the absolute maximum, and we'll see the peak performance of this Benyar BY-5169 when it's charged up. So that's now fully charged, and as you can see, initially the lume on the applied indices and the baton hands does glow brightly in a very aesthetically pleasing green tone. The green tone reminds me of C3 Superluminova or alternatively tritium lume, which is now obsolete due to its radioactivity. So it does give the watch a vintage aesthetic. But however, I have to be honest and say that the lume is very weak. It's fading very fast, and I would describe the performance of it as poor. It doesn't glow very brightly initially, and it doesn't glow for any length of time. So I would say the lume is acceptable, bearing in mind the price point of the piece, but however, it's nothing special. So lastly, I will surmise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. The watch should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So the price point of this watch is only £38. Yes, it is excellent quality, and yes, it is excellent value at £38. The value cannot be beaten. To get a Mecha Quartz movement with a ceramic bezel and sapphire crystal at this price point is very impressive. The main negative to the watch is the poor quality bracelet, as I've discussed, and the use of a push-pull crown and pressed-on case back. So they're the things to consider. Am I going to recommend the watch? No. Now, they may come as a surprise to you because yes, it is excellent quality and excellent value, but the reason why I'm not going to recommend it is simply because the Pagani design and the Bershka versions are better watches for not much more money. Currently, the Pagani design watch is on sale on AliExpress for only €57 including shipping, and it really cannot be beaten because it uses the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement, which is very good. It also has a sapphire crystal ceramic bezel and a superior bracelet because it has solid end links and a copy of the Rolex Glide Lock clasp. So my advice to you would be, do not buy this watch, buy the Pagani design or alternatively the Bershka version, which are identical. They're both the same watch. They really are better watches. It's a shame because this watch could be further improved, as I've discussed, by putting it on a leather or rubber strap or a NATO strap, because the bracelet is the main negative. Yes, if you're looking for a Mecha Quartz powered chronograph at £38, this is a good buy, and yes, I would buy it. But I really think it's worth paying the extra to get a Pagani design version to get those added specification enhancements, the main one being the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement, which is made in Japan. So I hope you've liked my review of the Benyar BY-5169. Please feel free to post your comments below the video. Thank you very much.